Have you ever seen someone call the cops and it backfired on them? Last year I moved into this quiet neighborhood where everyone minded their own business except for one person. Janet was the kind of neighbor who would measure your grass with a ruler to make sure it wasn't too long. She was the head of our homeowners association and took that job way too seriously. This woman would walk around the neighborhood every morning at 7 sharp with a clipboard, looking for violations. Wind chimes too loud, car parked 6 inches too far from the curb, basketball hoop slightly blocking the sidewalk. She'd write you up for everything. Most people just dealt with her complaints and moved on with their lives. But when the new guy Dave Patel moved in 3 houses down from me, things got interesting. Dave was this quiet software engineer who worked from home. Nice guy. Always waved when he saw you. Never bothered anyone. His only crime was wanting to paint his wooden fence from boring beige to this dark forest green color. It looked really nice, actually. Way better than all the cookie-cutter beige fences everyone else had. But Janet saw that green fence and lost her mind. She marched over to Dave's house the next morning with her clipboard and started yelling about HOA regulations. Dave politely explained he checked the rules and green was technically allowed. Janet screamed that dark green wasn't the same as regular green and stormed off. Over the next week, she kept showing up at Dave's door demanding he repaint it beige. Dave kept refusing because he wasn't breaking any actual rules. That's when Janet decided to escalate things. Last Saturday morning, I was drinking coffee on my porch when I saw 2 police cars pull up to Dave's house. Janet was standing on the sidewalk in her HOA president badge, pointing at his fence like it was some kind of crime scene. I walked over to see what was happening because this seemed crazy even for Janet. She had called the cops claiming Dave was destroying neighborhood property with toxic paint that was endangering everyone's health. The officers looked confused as they examined this perfectly normal fence. Dave came outside still in his pajamas looking totally bewildered. He showed the cops the paint can, which was just regular outdoor fence paint from Home Depot. Nothing toxic about it. The officers were clearly annoyed they got called out for a paint color dispute. They were about to leave when Dave's wife Amy came outside holding her phone. She told the officers they might want to see something and played a video from their doorbell camera. The footage showed Janet sneaking onto their front porch the night before, grabbing 3 Amazon packages and walking back to her own house with them. Dave and Amy had no idea this happened until they reviewed the footage after their packages went missing. Janet's face went completely white as the officers watched the video. She started stammering about how the video was fake and she was just protecting the neighborhood, but the timestamp was clear and the video quality was perfect. You could see her face and everything. Amy mentioned that several neighbors had complained about missing packages recently. One officer went to talk to other people on the street while his partner kept an eye on Janet. Within 15 minutes, he came back with statements from 4 different families who had lost packages over the past month. Mrs. Chen from 2 houses down had lost her prescription medication. The Williams family lost their daughter's birthday presents. Even old Mr. Garcia had his heart medication stolen. All these thefts happened on days when Janet was doing her morning neighborhood walks. The officers handcuffed Janet right there on the sidewalk while she screamed about how she was protecting property values, and Dave was the real criminal for painting his fence wrong. She kept yelling that everyone would thank her later when their home values didn't drop because of unauthorized paint colors. They put her in the back of the police car while neighbors came out of their houses to watch. Some people were even recording it on their phones because nobody could believe the HOA president was getting arrested for stealing packages. After they drove Janet away, Dave stood there shaking his head in disbelief. Amy was laughing because the whole thing was so ridiculous. I walked over and apologized for Janet's behavior, and Dave just smiled and said at least now he knew why his packages kept disappearing. 2 weeks later, the HOA held an emergency meeting to elect a new president since Janet was facing multiple felony theft charges. Dave got elected unanimously even though he never wanted the job. His first official act was changing the rules so people could paint their fences whatever color they wanted as long as it wasn't neon. He also banned anyone from calling the police over paint colors or grass height. The neighborhood is much more peaceful now.